the travel and tourism sector actually has an enormous amount of standardization built into it. It's a massively international economy, maybe 10% of the total economy, and it's a people activity. Everybody on this call is a traveler. It involves destinations, communities, there's companies, big companies, and also massive value chains with the smallest company, local restaurant, local taxi driver. And there has already been, thanks to an organization partly which is in Geneva, IATA, a massive standardization of commercial activities, of technical activities, and of digital activities now. And there's an interface with the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal, which brings the government side into this. And it's understandable because, you know, you're putting people in a metal tube 30,000 feet into the sky and saying get from 8 cross borders, use a massive amount of data, and sadly, this is an industry which is at the epicenter of the transmission of the virus. So we have mechanisms in place which are being used. Outside the airline sector, the World Travel and Tourism Council, where I spent 10 years as the first president, brings together all of the chairmen of the big companies. And they are looking at how do you standardize activities in the, particularly when it comes to blockchain, future technologies, blockchain, Internet of Things, all of those things, Carlos, which you have written about with David. I think the biggest challenge that we face at the moment, to be very practical, be 3 or 4 things. Number one, restart. How do you restart a sector which is, as I described it, everywhere, running into different jurisdictions with different sets of rules? You're quarantined in country A, but not in country B. You need health information in country C, which is different from the health information in country E. And people are reluctant to sort of move around more, I suspect now, because we don't know where the virus is going. The World Economic Forum, which has incredible phrases like Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Great Reset, talks about the massive changes, but the implementation is a lot of very, very small changes. You have to bring the small players in. And I think there are 2 areas where I can see a great potential for the use of technology and for security. One, and Carlos, you know this because we are exploring this together, is the passengers themselves will have to have an increasing amount of health information which they carry with them. It's sensitive information. It will be information which may work in one country and a different set of information may be needed in another country. So there's a massive scope for some sort of digital, very secure information which is with the traveller as they move through the system. And that has to interface with the government system, which let them in. And ideally, it has to use artificial intelligence at some stage in the game, because you need to move lots of people through borders, and you don't want to have enormous queues and which kills social distancing. So that's one side, is the health information. And the second side, which comes from a different crisis, but it's the one that I'm concerned with in my work, which is the climate crisis. It hasn't gone away. It's just as serious. In fact, today, my organization, SUNx, is launching with the World Travel and Tourism Council a new campaign called Bend Our Trend, which is trying to get the travel and tourism sector to join the world community in reducing its carbon footprint to zero carbon by 2050. And this is another area where the players, the stakeholders, will have to engage in different ways